I've been playing with the same Sims family for like 8 generations in game, for like 2 years in real life, and it's safe to say that I'm kind of embarrassingly attached to these Sims. And today I need to build them a new house, and so I want to take you along with me. I'm gonna be real picky about what their house looks like, so I thought you might like to see it. If you've been watching my Nightmare Legacy challenge on YouTube, you know what I'm talking about, the Bell family. I've got a Let's Play with these Sims here on my channel that's almost 100 episodes long, which I know sounds really intimidating, but each generation is kind of like its own little mini-series, and we're just starting a new one, so now's a really good time to tune in. I will, of course, link that playlist down below if you want to go watch it, but this family is just a little bit weird. You might have caught on to that by the Nightmare Legacy challenge title. I call it that because I play this legacy on short lifespan, and when you play on short lifespan, your Sims don't live for very long, and so in their relatively short lives, it feels like there's always a lot happening, like literally all the time. It's actually really exciting, although kind of stressful, I assume, for the Sims that are involved. The other weird thing is the fact that I'm building this house backwards. Yeah, just so you all know, I realized the house is backwards on the lot. I did that on purpose. You see, we've lived on this same 40 by 30 lot here in Oasis Springs the entire time for the whole legacy, and the lighting is just not that good here for building. The lighting is best from the back of the lot, and so I started making the house backwards, like facing the back, just so I could have slightly better lighting and a slightly more pleasant viewing experience for you. But don't worry, I do like flip it back around to face the right direction, I promise. So let me explain what we're building here really quickly. This is the 8th generation of this family, so this is kind of our 8th main house. And with each generation, I try and build like a brand new house, a brand new style, just to kind of signify like the changes of the mini-series almost. And so our new heir, the new main Sim, is named Blue. Blue Bell is their full name. And so because that Sim has kind of like a flower for a name, I want them to be a gardener. I want to do like the flower arranging skill. I want to have like a little workshop for them in the house. Now, I feel as though this like flower garden vibe maybe doesn't necessarily fit so well with like the desert. This is something that I've kind of struggled with the entire time in this legacy living in Oasis Springs. That's also why I had them live here originally, because I don't really tend to build a lot in Oasis Springs. Whenever I do, it's like, okay, mid-century modern house or like Mediterranean house. I don't really sort of branch out from those two styles here in Oasis Springs. I was getting a little bit too comfortable, and so with this legacy, I wanted to have an excuse to try a lot of different builds and like kind of push the boundaries of what I feel comfortable building in the game. So I built quite a few different things. Last time we had this sort of like mountain almost inspired house, and this time I almost went a little bit modern farmhouse with this. Realistically, modern farmhouse might not fit that well in like the desert, but I think I managed to make it work. I did a lot with platforms on this house too, because I really wanted to have some grassy areas and like some green space, but obviously it's the desert, so you can't really very easily do that. So I tried really hard to use platforms and make retaining walls and stuff like that. In fact, I even managed to fit in a driveway on this build, and the driveway I think is one of my favorite parts of this house, because I was kind of trying to avoid using terrain tools, because I don't know if you've noticed, but terrain tools and platforms don't really mesh very well. They're really tough to use at the same time. But I still wanted to have a driveway and like a little garage space, because this Sim needs to have like a workshop or something. So I really wanted a fake garage, and honestly kind of wanted a fake car too, so that I could take advantage of that workshop space. And so what I did, instead of using terrain or anything like that to have that slope, I used a really long, very low roof piece to pretend to be a sloped driveway. You can see it there on the side, and I think it actually looks really good there. There are a couple problems with it. Like obviously you can't super control the height of it. You also can't really very easily put a car on it because the driveway is sloped and the cars are straight, and so when you put a car on it, they're kind of floating. I decided I didn't care about that. There is ways around that using the tool mod to like adjust things a little bit more. I don't have the mod installed, and I frankly, I don't care if things float. So I just put a car down and had it float in the front yard. You'll see that later on in the video, but I think the driveway itself looks really cool. We have that driveway and also a walkway up the stairs kind of, and in the back I managed to do a ton with platforms as well. The back has like a multiple tiered patio space. It's got a pool. It's got like space for a garden for my Sim to grow their flowers. I mean, this house is actually honestly ginormous on the outside, and yet somehow quite small on the interior. I realized that as I was building it. I was like, wow, the yard looks great. The exterior looks great. Oh wait, the rooms are quite small on the inside. I do think that part of this is kind of fun though. I sort of like to live in like slightly smaller bedrooms for my Sims. I find it's more fun to decorate smaller spaces. I know it is odd to wish for a smaller home, but like that's kind of what I was going for a little bit here. I want to fill in the lot, but also have it be like cozy on the inside. The one problem is I have a lot of Sims that need to live here. I think we've probably all experienced this when it comes to like building houses for real life Sims, especially for legacy challenge Sims where you sort of have like multi-generational families, because in this household, I'm gonna try and explain this to you. My current Sim is Blue Bell, who is my new heir. They don't have a partner or anything or any kids just yet. They're super young, just aged up to young adults, so they're not really like doing anything of their own. But their mom still lives here. Their mom is an adult, almost an elder. Luckily, mom is divorced, so we don't have like an extra parent living here that we need to find space for. But Blue does have a brother, so we've already got 3 Sims that need to live here. That's 3 bedrooms. Now, Blue's grandparents also live here in this house, and this is a little bit odd because usually in this legacy, being on short lifespan, I don't get to have grandparents. Like, they're normally long dead by the time the next Sim becomes a young adult and starts having their own family. But in this one, the grandparents are dead, but like so dead, in fact, that they lived in my household as ghosts for a while, and then I brought them back to life with Ambrosia, so now they're like alive, living Sims that also live here. So we've got 2 grandparents, mom, brother, new Sim. In total, we need like 4 bedrooms. This would normally be fine because like the brother will probably move out soon, you know, the grandparents will die and we'll have space for the kids to live here once my Sim Blue actually has kids eventually. Except the problem is, because I brought my Sim's dead grandparents back to life, one of them died as a young adult in a very tragic fire, and so she was a ghost of a young adult for a very long time. Now she's back to life, she's a young adult again. That's Anna. And her spouse, Blake, died of old age. They lived together, they were together for ages as ghosts, and also, I guess, for a while as like one of them being a ghost and one of them being alive. It was kind of weird. But now Blake is alive again, but is an elder again, and Anna is a young adult again because she died as a young adult. And so basically what I'm trying to say is my Sim's grandma is like the same age as them. Like Blue and Anna are now like the same age, even though Anna is their grandmother and Anna died ages ago. It's very confusing, but Anna's gonna be here for a while. I don't intend to have her die in a fire by accident again, so we need to have space for the grandparents, we need to have space for Blue, we need to have space for Blue's brother, just need a lot of rooms. Currently, all of the rooms in this house are occupied by our extended family. Hopefully, some people will move out, maybe the brother will move out, and then I'll have space to have kids, but right now, they're full. It's a 4-bedroom house, and every single bedroom is full. There's a couple other weird things about this house that I should probably point out. The first that you might be noticing is the pond in the front yard. Yeah, that's not just any pond. That's my piranha pond. I've always had that. It's full of live man-eating fish, and I use it sometimes for my Sims that misbehave. So we need that there in the front yard. We need to have space for it. It's very important. The priorities for this house were like workshop, garden, pond. I always need to have space for the pond in the yard somewhere. And I managed to fit it there in the front, and honestly, I feel like it kind of blends in nicely in Oasis Springs. It actually kind of fits, which helps. But yeah, that thing is always kind of confusing to people. When I say it's a man-eating piranha pond, it actually can kill your Sims, and trust me, it has before, many times. But you don't actually get like eaten. When your Sims get eaten, they actually just drown. But that pond from Get Famous can and will kill your Sims. If they fall in, if they jump in, they might die in there. So be careful of it. Don't learn the hard way like I did. But I mean, you also might learn the hard way like I did and then sort of embrace it, because I had a Sim die in there by accident once, and then I realized that it was the greatest thing that ever happened to me, and now I put it in this family's house constantly. So maybe it's not all bad. Aside from that though, I do think that the exterior of this house might be one of those like trust the process kind of builds, because it certainly is a little bit weird when you're just seeing all the platforms coming together and you're seeing like the color scheme I'm trying to figure out. It definitely is a bit odd to look at and be like, now what on earth is she going for with this? But I feel like it did manage to work out in the end. The whole house is sort of, in my mind, supposed to be like a white, maybe like a brick color, perhaps some paneling. And then I wanted to use a lot of black and also a lot of like oak accents. I was looking for like white, black, and then wood kind of as the color scheme for this. So for that reason, I used that like wooden door to the garage. We have that like wooden trellis over the backyard. I also made a lot of the walls, kind of the retaining walls, wood as well to sort of match that color scheme. And then of course, when I put the flowers in, I made the flowers blue because, you know, the sim is named Blue. It was a very slight little ode to them, okay? Sure, maybe the house isn't all blue or anything. I wasn't going like all out making a blue house, but I did want to have some little blue accents in the color scheme from time to time. I will say, and you probably have noticed this, I have not furnished the house yet. This video is purely the exterior speed build. I decided when I built this on stream yesterday that because it took me so long to do the outside, I would probably just cut the speed build into 2 parts. I have never posted a 2-part speed build before on my YouTube channel, but I figure with this one, because it's like for an important family and the house is kind of important to a lot of you because we've been playing this family on YouTube, I thought it made a little bit more sense to split it up, and so that way you could see the whole thing, because otherwise I would have to probably cut out like a lot of things. Like I'd probably cut out a lot of me messing with the platforms and stuff. Otherwise it'd be like an hour-long speed build probably. So I thought, okay, let's post it in 2 parts. We'll do the exterior and then the interior just so we can see the whole thing, because I figured again a lot of you might want to. So I'm going to post that second part of me furnishing the house tomorrow here on this channel. I won't make you wait or anything. I just haven't done it yet. I'm gonna do it today though, so I can post it tomorrow, I promise. But like I said, it's been taking me a little bit longer than I anticipated to do this house. I actually didn't even build it with the Bell family or like for the Sims, if that makes sense. You might notice like Stanley, my hot dog sim, standing there in the front yard. Yeah, that's because I built this in a completely different save. I thought about building it on their actual lot, but then I got nervous and I thought, you know what? I'll build it separately, I'll make it the right budget, and then I'll just place it down on their lot once I'm done, and I can put all of their things back, like their pictures and things back in afterward. I just didn't want to risk like doing it in their save. I don't know why, but I feel very protective of the actual save, and it's also old and kind of laggy now, so it's a little bit easier to build in a different save, so I built it here. I did give the Sims a budget though. You'll see that I started out with 120,000 simoleons. My Sims actually have 142,000 simoleons, so we're doing okay money-wise. I'm not really worried about the price. By the time I finished the exterior completely, including the like outdoor furnishings like the fireplace and the grill and stuff like that, I think we had like 56,000 simoleons, which might not sound like too much, but I think to furnish the interior, it's a 4-bedroom house, it isn't a huge living space. Like I think that 56K should be okay. And honestly, even if it's not, I gave myself 120,000, but we have 142,000. I just wanted to like cut my budget a little bit lower for the sake of trying to save money just in case, just to be safe. But if we need to spend an extra like 10K, like my Sims have that money, so we'll be fine. I'm not worried about the price at all. That's one like super nice bonus of being at this point in the legacy challenge where we have 8 generations. Like we have so much money, we've been accumulating it for so long. To an extent, I was kind of trying to like get rid of money because I had like 40,000 simoleons just in my Sims bank for a while, and I was like, I don't want this, it's too much. I want to kind of struggle to pay the bills. I want to at least have a reason to have my Sims go to work, because if they don't have a reason to go to work, what's the point of playing? I mean, they go to their job, they earn like 4,000 simoleons in a day, and then what? It's just boring. It's boring being rich in The Sims. I want to have my Sims struggle. This is why I always do like rags to riches and legacy challenges and stuff, because I like having my Sims actually have to work for money and things. I think a lot of you relate to that though. I'm not alone in this. I feel like there's 2 camps of Sims players, right? There's the ones like me that are like, make my Sims suffer, I want them to struggle. And the other half that's like, use motherload cheats, never have to worry about money. And I get that. I really do. I am certainly one to do money cheats to build houses sometimes. Like my other way of playing, it's either I'll do rags to riches and start out with 0 simoleons in an empty lot, or I'll have a Sim and then start out with like, you know, a house that I already built and just cheat for money to make the house and then put their money back down to a lower amount. So I might start out in like a 50,000 simoleon house instead of a 20,000 simoleon house. And I feel like that's fine, because at least it's kind of hard for them to afford the bills when they're first starting out. Like they do actually have to earn money at work to, you know, pay the bills for their more expensive home, which is fun. Speaking of which, I'm not really sure how I'm going to afford this house with my Sim who I intend to make money by flower arranging, but luckily their grandma is still alive. You know how I said their grandma is a young adult again? So luckily their grandma has been working as a writer for a very long time and makes very good money from book royalties. So I think we should be okay with like both grandma and Blue being here and earning money, because otherwise the bills are going to be really pricey. But I think it'll be fine because we still have our dead but alive grandma to help. I'm sorry. That is such a weird way of describing this. If you haven't seen the family, you're probably like, what on earth is she talking about? Like, her dead but alive grandma who I spent months trying to resurrect with Ambrosia. The Sims is so weird. The Sims is so much fun, actually. This save especially has been like channeling my inner love of The Sims. It's like taking me back to when I was a kid playing The Sims. I've been having so much fun with it for that reason. I've always loved The Sims. I've always loved playing Sims households, but for some reason, this Let's Play in particular is like my favorite family I've ever played with ever. I love them so much, and I've really had fun playing them. So I know a lot of you are also very attached to this household, so I'm glad to hear that. It makes me really happy. And again, if you haven't seen it, don't worry, you don't have to watch it, but if you want to go back and watch the playlist or anything, I can link that for you, like I said, because it's really fun. If I think it's fun, hopefully you think it's fun too, right? That's kind of been my philosophy with my channel. I've kind of just been like, yeah, do what I think is fun, and people will like it, right? Because if I'm having fun, then you probably are, right? Right? At least I hope so. I think it makes for better videos though, right? Like if I'm actually enjoying it and I'm having a lot of fun doing it, then, you know, maybe you will too. But that, my friends, is pretty much the entire exterior of the house. Like I had mentioned, the interior furnishing isn't quite done yet, so I'm gonna post the video furnishing the house tomorrow on my channel. So if you're not already subscribed, please do so that you don't miss that tomorrow. So we live out here across the street from the Landgrab family, and this is what the house is looking like at the moment. Now, Stanley here is being very rude and thinks that my home is poorly decorated. So I did last night on stream force him to jump into this pond, and he died first try, so we'll see how that goes for him. Maybe he'll win. Oh, he survived. That's fine. Anyway, this is the house. This is what I was talking about, how the car is kind of floating. It's clipping a bit, and then the back wheels are kind of floating. I don't really care. That can stay. But we've got like a little driveway. I put the bin out at the end, like it's gonna be taken soon. We have this walkway up to the front where we have a little porch space. We've got a bunch of blue flowers. We have my pond of murderous beasts. And then in the back, I just love this. I think it's so beautiful. In the back, we have an enormous pool. I put a couple of floaties in it. We have this super nice like outdoor grill area. We have this little fireplace. We got some lounge chairs. This is the garden for my Sim Blue to grow their flowers in. We also have this little like covered space for a patio table. And there's not really a lot of other furniture in the house yet. I haven't done much. I put down this tree because I was like, I'm gonna need to use that to get the flower arranging skill. And I also did Blue's little garage, but I'll show you that tomorrow in the speed build. And we now have 51,000 simoleons to furnish the rest of this home. So I'm kind of thinking we'll do like a living area right here in this main space, and then we'll have the kitchen along this wall, a dining table here, and then I managed to make like a main bedroom for Blue. They're gonna have an ensuite bathroom. We'll have a little hall bath right here, and then upstairs we've got another big hallway where I might put like a office space or something. We've got the grandparents' room with an ensuite bathroom because they died, so they deserve to have, you know, at least a nice bathroom, right? And then we've got two other rooms for Blue's brother and Blue's mom. Now, these are eventually going to be kids' rooms. They can't be kids' rooms yet because, well, I don't have any kids and I've got a bunch of other Sims to find places for. But that is the finished, although I guess maybe half finished product. So with that being said, I'm going to end this video right here, and make sure you stay tuned for tomorrow to see the second half of it. I did put the unfurnished version, like the shell of the house, up on the gallery if you want to download it. And I'll of course put the finished version up soon once it's done as well. Thank you all so much for watching and for listening to my little ramblings about The Sims. I really enjoy speed builds. They're just kind of fun for me, so I hope that you like them too. And I'm gonna catch you all tomorrow, okay? Bye, everybody. You know, I really wish Stanley had died in the pond just then. That would have been great content.